What do you think draws so many students and athletes to Binghamton and, specifically the wrestling program here?
I mean, there's sort of two different questions, but the one thing that draws people here, the students here, is that it's an outstanding academic opportunity at a tremendous value. You look right down the road at Syracuse University, and I'm not sure what the cost is there now, but it's in the mid to upper 50s per year, probably $56,000 per year. And Binghamton is just as tough to get into, and arguably even a better school. I mean, if you're going to forestry or Newhouse at Syracuse, one of the specialized schools, they have some of the best in the country. But the overall academic, the liberal arts program there, it's just as tough to get in or harder, and it's certainly comparable to or arguably greater than a better school academically, and it costs a third of the price. Right. So it's almost crazy. I mean, if you can get into Cornell, that's a different story. You're paying 3 times as much, but it's an Ivy League school. I mean, I understand why somebody might make that decision, even if there's no scholarships involved. If I had a child that can get into Harvard, and I would remortgage my house several times in order for them to go to Harvard. As for why kids come here for the wrestling program, I think it sort of starts and a little of it has to do with the tradition. I don't think a lot of the kids coming in now know about the tradition of our program through its history in Division III. Great coach, Steve Erber, a lot of success, ranked as high as, I think, 3rd in the country and consistently in the top 5 or 10. Many, many, many All-Americans during our Division III history, if you will. But now, in the modern era, if you'll call it, the D1 era, it starts and finishes with the coaching staff. I think, Pat and Dennis the kids are coming for 2 reasons. They're coming for the coaches, or they're coming for what the program has accomplished in a very short period of time. But again, that's a reflection of what the kids have done on the mat, but they were led by Pat and his staff that supported him. So, especially Dennis, have really, really they've just done some really fantastic work. And we've got great recruits that have come in this year. We have more great recruits coming in next year. We'll probably add 2 or 3 more recruits for next year. And then the question is, how do the kids step up? How do the kids respond when it gets tough, when they are injured, or when they don't feel good, or quite frankly, when they're not used to that level of intensity? They were able to, I wouldn't say get back by, they were able to work hard on the high school level and perform at a very high level. But there's a big difference between that and the way how hard you're going to have to work once you come here. It's apples and oranges. There's no comparison. And if we want to take Binghamton into the upper echelon and have them become a perennial D1 powerhouse and do what they've done at Ohio State and Oklahoma State and Iowa State, Penn State, then it's going to require these kids to make that critical adjustment. Right. You could be a 2-time or 3-time state. Penn State, when my best friend was the captain of Penn State, they had 2 or 3-time state champions from New Jersey that never cracked the starting lineup in the 5 years they were there. Never started. Right. They were multi-state champions from a tough state. And I think part of that has to do more in the head and in the heart than it has to do with the brawn. That they had it. But when it comes to, there's 45 seconds left in the third period, and we need the decision, and you're down by 2 or 3 points, and there's 45 seconds left. That's what takes you from a great wrestler to the final elite level. And I think they're in good hands with these guys because these guys know how to foster and promote and bring that out in championship caliber talent.
Right. Alrighty. Now a little bit about you. How did wrestling help you in your career? You've had a very successful career, and how had being a wrestler in college and being an athlete, helped you in any way?
We'll rewind the tape to the answer that I gave before about mental toughness, and mental toughness, work ethic, and discipline. I mean, those are the 3 things that I talk about all the time that I walked away from from the sport. Again, values amongst many other values that were instilled in me by both my parents, but those are the three that have helped me. It's in your DNA, and you're a product of your past and of those experiences. My experiences were growing up on Long Island, and acting and attending Binghamton University. But I also wrestled from fourth grade through junior high, through high school, and Division III here at Binghamton. And that's a big part of my makeup. That's a big part of who I am. So I can easily and confidently say that I got to where I got in many aspects of my life, with my wife and with my children and with my career and with my success, with the success and the failures,
mm-hmm.
and responding to mistakes and the adjustments that you make and how you respond to adversity. I think, it's either in your DNA or it's not. And for me, I like to think that it was, and a major contributing factor to why I've been able to, by most conventional standards, people will look at the life that I've had so far and the career that I've had, and they look at it as successful. I mean, I've worked consistently in a very competitive field, and I amongst other things, I have the sport of wrestling to thank for it.
All right. How are you staying involved with the team? You, like I said before, you're a big advocate for the team.
Mm-hmm.
How are you staying involved, and how can other alumni help the program?